Hello students, in today's session let us talk about software process models. So let's begin with what exactly is software process. So software process is basically set of steps that will help you in the development of the software. Okay, so you have so many steps like collecting the requirements, analyzing them, then designing it, coding it, testing it. So you have so many steps that are followed by every developer to develop a particular software. So your software process will tell you what are those steps. Now let's see what exactly are these software process models. So software process models are nothing but it is a plan that is given to you to follow the order in which the software process steps must be executed. So you have the steps with you. So you need to plan accordingly as to which step to be followed after which step. So this particular plan is given to us with the help of these various software process models. So let's start with today's topic, which is called as the process model. So in the last session we spoke about the generic process model. So generic process model was basically a framework that was given to us which told the structure as to how you have to actually develop the process. Okay, so this particular generic process framework structure is refined with exact number of steps in the software development with the name called as the software process models. So let's look into the first software process model that we have, which is called as the SDLC, Software Development Life Cycle. This is the first refined version of your generic process framework. Okay, which will tell or which will guide us as to how you have to move forward in the development of the software. Let's look into the architecture of the SDLC. So this is the architecture. So in every software process model, you will be having various phases. You have to move from one phase to the another in a particular order to complete the development of your software. Starting with the first phase in your SDLC, the first phase you have is the requirements phase, where you sit along with the customer and you collect the requirements that the customer wants in the development of the software. After collecting the requirements, you sit and you start analyzing those requirements. So you come with a segregation as to which requirements can be developed, which cannot, how many modifications are there. So you analyze all those requirements that you have collected from your customer and you prepare a document which is called as the SRS document. So once your SRS document is ready with you, we will move to the next phase, which is called as the design phase. So in design phase, based upon the requirements you have collected, you create a prototype, you create a model and you show it to your customer as to this is how your particular product is going to look like, right? So in your design phase also you will come up with a particular document which is called as SRD, software design document, okay, SDD. After the design phase, once the designs are finalized, you will move to the next phase which is called as the development phase. So here actually the complete software will be written using some programming language like C, C++, Java, etc. So once the complete software is developed, we will move to the next phase which is called as the testing phase. So in testing phase, using various testing tools, you do functional testing, non-functional testing, you have unit testing, integration testing, alpha, beta, so many types of testings are there which we will see clearly in unit number 4. So you will be doing different types of testings to make sure that the software that you have developed is working properly. Once the testing is successfully completed, you will move to the next phase which is called as the delivery phase. In delivery phase, you will actually deploy the product to the customer. Okay, so once deploying the product to the customer is not the end of your development. From there, the actual process starts, which is called as the next level, which is called as maintenance phase. So in maintenance phase, you start collecting the feedback from the customer. Based upon the feedback he is giving, you will do the modifications in the developed software and you start releasing the newer versions into the market. So this is basically a structure which is followed by all the software development companies, which is called as a software development life cycle. It has so many phases: requirement, design, development, testing, delivery phase and maintenance phase. Okay, so this is the basic structure. Now that we understood what exactly is this SDLC, let's move forward to the various different types of process models. Now generally, we are not going to develop a single type of software. We have n number of softwares. You have mobile applications, gaming applications, you have desktop applications, you have web applications. So different types of applications need to follow different styles of development. Okay, so taking SDLC as the basic structure, they have developed n number of other process models which will be used by different applications. Okay, so just let's look into what are the various process models we have. The first one you have is the waterfall model, then you have the incremental process model, you have evolutionary process models. So under evolutionary process models, you again have iterative, prototyping, spiral and concurrent development, and finally you have the agile model. So these are the currently very much used process models in various companies. So you still have many other process models, but these are most widely used among all the companies. So let's start with the first one, which is called as the waterfall model. So waterfall model is very much similar to your SDLC. The only thing is it is going to follow a very strict procedure of the plan that you have given in your SDLC. So you have so many n number of phases in SDLC. Each phase is properly and strictly followed in waterfall model. So what exactly is happening in this waterfall model? In this model, unless and until you complete one step, you cannot move forward to the next step. And after moving to the next step, you are not allowed to return back to the previous step. Okay, so every step is properly maintained, developed. Okay, once that is completed only you will move to the next phase. So let's see what is the actual architecture of this waterfall model. So in this waterfall model, we will start with the first phase, which is called as the requirements analysis. As I've told you, you collect the requirements and you analyze them. In the next phase, once the requirements are finalized, that is it. Once your SRS document is ready, you are not allowed to do any changes in it. Then only you will move to the next phase, which is called as a system design phase. So here you start designing your prototype of your particular product. Okay, once system designing is completed, you will move to the next phase, which is called as development phase. Okay, when you are in development phase, you are not allowed to move back to the previous phases. That is, you cannot go back again to the requirements analysis phase, or you cannot go back to the system design phase. So you have to move in a forward manner only. Forward steps are only allowed. Backward steps are not allowed to us. So once development is completed, you again go back to the testing phase. After testing is completed, you will go back to the implementation phase, where you will actually deploy the product to the customer, take his feedback and maintain the particular product. Okay, so in maintenance, you are rectifying the bugs, you are enhancing the particular software by adding new features depending upon the feedback that is given to your customer. So everything is followed one after the other in your waterfall model. So let's see what are the various advantages we have for this waterfall model. So the first thing is it's very simple to understand. Okay, you don't have any complications, you have clear steps, one after the other you have to follow. So it's very simple to understand. Okay, you have very clear phases here. It's well documented. So as I've told you, in every phase or in every step, you are going to maintain a document, okay, which is finalized in that particular step only. Next one you have is it is easy to manage. Okay, since you are going step by step, it is easy to manage for us and it is good for smaller projects, right? So let's look into the disadvantages. So the first disadvantage is it is very rigid. So as I've told you, you can only take forward steps, but you cannot go backward. So it's very rigid. Changes are very costly. Say suppose even after this particular rule you want to do any change, then you have to start from the beginning level only, which is going to cost more in terms of time, budget, everything. Okay, it's not flexible. So as I've told you, once the requirements and designs are finalized, you cannot do any modifications or you cannot add any new features to it. The risk of missing needs. Okay, so in waterfall model, generally we don't talk about the risk management. We don't talk about the different types of problems that we get in the development. So risk is very missing in this waterfall model. And then as I've told you, since it follows a step-by-step procedure, it is not at all suitable for large complex projects. You can use it only for smaller projects. So this is about your waterfall model. Let's talk about the second one, which is called as the incremental process model. Okay, this is the second version, which is trying to overcome the disadvantages of your waterfall model. So let's see what exactly is happening in this incremental process model. So here you're going to take your large project that you want to develop and divide it into small modules. Okay, and these individual modules, which are independent to each other, are developed separately. So you're going to take the first module and you're going to develop it first. You will deliver that module to your customer. Depending upon the feedback that your customer is giving, you start with the second module. Okay, so let's take an example, like for suppose your customer has come to you to develop a website for grocery shop. Okay, so what you do in the first phase, you give him the home page where he can browse the products, okay, and then he can add the products to the cart. This will be the first level, so you deploy it to the customer. Right now, depending upon the feedback you're taking, you will enhance it somewhat to the next module. So say suppose the next module you have added your payment gateway. So you add payment gateway to the existing module and you deliver it to the customer. Again, based upon the feedback, you give some enhanced features, like for example tracking the delivery, giving feedbacks and all. So everything is happening in an incremental way. That means you are giving your product to the customer in small phases. Right? So this particular incremental process model follows all the phases of your waterfall model, but instead of delivering the complete product to the customer at a time, it is dividing the product into small pieces, and in increments it is going to deliver those particular pieces. So what is happening here in incremental process model? So you have the communication phase, planning, same thing, all whatever you have, modeling, construction, deployment, okay. After that, you're going to deliver the first increment to the customer. Once the increment is delivered, you're going to take the feedback from the customer. Based on that, you start again following all the phases to deliver the second increment. Okay, this procedure will keep on following until the last increment is going to give you the complete whole product that the customer is asking for. So this is basically the procedure of your incremental process model. So let's look into the various advantages and disadvantages of this particular model. So talking about the one, early delivery. So since you are giving in small increments, so your customer can easily look into what is the prototype and how my actual website is going to look like. So there's early delivery here, easier testing. So instead of testing a whole product at a time, so you're testing it in small modules, so testing becomes easier here. Flexibility. So as I've told you, after every increment you're taking the feedback from the customer. So if any modifications or changes are suggested, you can easily add them or enhance it into the next increment. Okay, risk management. So handling small parts or small modules is easy. You can easily identify the mistakes or the problems that are arising in the development of the particular product. So risk management is also there in your incremental process model. Now let's talk about the disadvantages. The first one you have is integrating complexity. Okay, you are developing in small modules, but together putting it and delivering as a whole product to the customer at the end becomes a very big task to us. So there will be an integration complexity there. Right, planning overhead. So you have to plan priorly as to how many modules should I divide my project into, which module should be developed first, what are the new features that I have to add later. So this planning becomes a very overhead to the whole team that is working on the particular project. Okay, incomplete system. So in every increment, you are not giving a whole product to your customer. You are giving only some insufficient or incomplete product to the customer. Higher cost. So as you keep on refining all these products and following all the phases again and again, it's obviously going to cost us more. Okay, so these are the various advantages and disadvantages of your incremental process model. So let's wind up this session with the last point, where when can I use this waterfall model and when can I use this incremental process model. So when you do not have, when you have a very clear picture as to what to be developed, when you are fixed with your requirements, you know that exactly this is what I want from the company, this is how my software is going to look like. You don't want to deviate from your modifications, your requirements, you don't have any modifications. Then you have to go for the first one, which is called as the waterfall model, because in waterfall model, you cannot change your requirements. Now in the second case, if suppose you want to enhance your features in the future, you're not exactly prepared as to how my output is going to look like. Maybe I can add few more features in the middle of the development of the product. In such cases, you can go for the second one, which is called as the incremental process model. Okay, thank you.